Bonjour, Mademoiselle et Monsieur Romanov. Zdrowdy, Minister Poincar. Dobry wieczór, Mr. Poincar. Why are we meeting in secret? Well, as you know, the Germans have brought Italy into their alliance with Austria-Hungary and created a triple alliance, and their military buildup is sending signals of war. Yes, I am well aware of this. What do you propose? Great Britain and France would like Russia to enter into a triple entente to defeat the German armies. Well, I will comply, but I must warn you. Pardon? I must warn you that as a military person, I will suck and be removed and replaced. Yes. And despite our efforts to kill that little rascal Rasputin, we will be murdered and burned in our own backyard. Yes, he was, this is what I mean. I'm not very good at these things. We tried poisoning him, we shot him, and we threw him in the river to drown. And yet he will come back to haunt us. Did somebody say burn? Mademoiselle Joan of Arc, you have returned 450 years later. I am a Catholic saint now. I can do anything I want. I thought I could do anything I wanted also, but they fired me 3 times. So today we're going to look at the French milk glass bonbons. Candy dishes, candy bottles, I should say. And we're going to use a reference of Milk Glass Book by Frank Scherzen and James Slater. We have the Czar and Czarina bottles pictured here. And New Bounds, page 19, where they have the Czar and Czarina spelled with a T here. First bust we'll look at is Joan of Arc, Joan d'Arc in French. She's 16.5 inches tall, and she's a bottle with a removable head, and it fits quite badly. You can't, I mean, it'll fall right off. You have to carry it 2 separate pieces. I don't know whether they had some cork around that stopper when it was first manufactured or not. My guess is there was some kind of a sealant, because I do believe she was made to carry liquid chocolate, because down inside you can see the remnants of what looks to be chocolate. I'm not sticking my finger down in there to taste it, but we know it was probably chocolate, because when we turn her around on the shield, it says sideways, bonbons, John Tavernier. John Tavernier was a bonbon shop in the St. Mary's Cloister in area of Paris, France. I found that by looking on the internet, and there was a poet that grew up in that area, and he remembered and spoke fondly of seeing the glass shops and the tailor shops and the candy shop of John Tavernier candies. I believe they were still making candies up through 1945. I found tins that were dated around that era. 1945 tins with little gummy bear type looking things in them. But I believe that she was manufactured to carry chocolate, liquid. She's in full armor. A little bit of history about Joan of Arc. She was sent by the French king to liberate the town of Orleans from the British during the 100 Years' War in 1429. She lifted the siege in 7 or 9 days and was a hero. She was sent back a few years later when the British reinvaded, and she defeated them again and was she retreated, and she was with the rear guard and captured. She was burned at the stake for heresy. Her heresy was cross-dressing. They couldn't trick her up on questions of the faith, but they got her on cross-dressing. She used to button her pants to her boots and her tunic to her pants so she couldn't be raped. At least make it harder to be raped. The British made her put a dress on, and the very next day some lord or something or other went in and tried to have his way with her into prison. So that's what the ladies back in the 1400s did to try and save themselves. That's 16.5-inch Joan of Arc with a poorly fitting head. Now this glass has a bit of a rough feel to it. It is not translucent. And it's not chalky. It's just unusual. I guess that's probably the mold surface. It's almost like it was sandblasted. Details really quite nice. This bust is Raymond Poincaré. He was an illustrious politician in France. He was elected prime minister several times. He was minister of the Treasury. He worked his way up. He was very instrumental in forming an alliance with Russia in World War I. And after the war ended, he was instrumental in the war reparations called the Guilt Reparations Treaty with Germany, where they gave France some valuable ground and a bunch of, $25 million or some number. That's not accurate, it's just from my memory. But they had to repay France for invading them and messing around with, for a couple of years, killing half the French men. So he's very instrumental in that, and whenever Germany reneged on that, he re-invaded Germany and said, listen, we ain't leaving until you pay us. And they took mostly coal at the time, if you can believe that. Now, this is the only one that's not marked a John Tavernier bonbon. I believe he's newest because this guy passed away in 1934, and my guess is they didn't make the bust until sometime after that. He is the heaviest and most, what I call traditional newer milk glass, kind of like a 1955 Westmoreland type milk. There's no translucence to it. I could be looking at a piece of panel grape or something and get almost this heaviness and whiteness. He's pretty heavy. He's got to be 2 pounds. Next up, we'll take a look at Tsar Nicholas II. Tsar Nicholas was commander of the Russian armies during most of World War I. And as I stated earlier, he got removed because he pretty much sucked at it. And in 1918, him and his family were whacked by the Bolsheviks. Bolsheviks are kind of like the predecessors to the Communist Party. Now, I'm very fortunate to have the tin bottom to this, which was the closure. Poincaré had a tin bottom, but his is gone, and you don't find them with the tin bottoms very often, and the tin bottom on this guy is in really good shape. I'm not taking it off. Nobody knows who made these first 3. He has the same type of glass as our friend Joan of Arc. It's that buff, no gloss on this guy. You can see the little iron cross looking metal there. He's inscribed bonbons, John Tavernier. Bonbons in French is type of candy, or candy itself, I'm not sure. This guy has a little stress crack going up along here, cooling line. Other than that, he is in really good condition. I love his mustache. It's a good one. A little bit finer detail on Nicholas than on Raymond, but different mold, different factory for sure. The only thing similar is well, actually there's not a damn thing similar. Not pardon my French. Now this is the Czarina Alexander. Doesn't have her name on there, but everybody knows who she was. And just like Joan of Arc, her head comes off. She's a bottle. Probably could put anything in there from perfume, although it doesn't have a perfume stopper. It has a real nice neck on here. The neck is finished, it's not ground. That was the bottom of the mold. And the glass was pushed in from under here. So this area was not ground like you see on most bottles, like on Joan of Arc over there. Her neckline is ground on the top of her bottle, but this is molded in place. Now the bottom of her head is ground, and the back of her head, she's going bald. Look at my fingers. That's how thin that glass is. The fact that that hasn't broken or have any stress cracks in it is amazing to me. The front is a little bit thicker. I can still see my fingers through it, but nothing like the back. That is real thin. Her body is detailed. Not aggressively detailed, but detailed nonetheless. And I think I'm extremely fortunate to have a bottom that actually has a maker's mark. All these are listed in my reference books as makers unknown. Now I've taken a marker and I've highlighted that down in the pontil mark, and it is rough. You can catch your finger on some areas where the glass was forced in to find and highlight that L. Now I did find a web page that listed that with a little extra on it. On the stem of the L, a C crossed it for the city that was made in. I believe the name of it, or the area, was CIE. And that Legras, Legras, used that L on their glass. So even though Sharenza has no idea who made it, New Balance has no idea who made it, that is a glass mark. And if you know that glass mark, go ahead on YouTube and put down the name of the company that you think that belongs to in France. And I suspect it may have been Legras or Legras. One thing I forgot to show you. I have to find it. I did forget to show you on the bottom of Joan of Arc, it says depose. D-E-P-O-S-E, depose. Has one of those little hickeys over the E. And that is the same as saying registered or patented in French. Germany uses a similar word spelled just a little bit different. So that's just like an American piece saying patented or registered, trademark kind of a thing. Those are some milk glass bottles, busts, bonbons I've collected. I hope you enjoyed my video. There's a lot more milk glass videos, Westmoreland videos out there. Happy hunting!